Chosen one, have you noticed people staring at you and saying absolutely nothing? Listen to me carefully. Right now, as you're hearing my voice, something is happening that you can't see, but you've felt it your whole life, haven't you? You're standing in the checkout line at Stop and Shop. The woman behind you, she's staring, not at your clothes, not at your cart, at your face. And when you turn to meet her eyes, she looks away fast. Too fast. You're sitting in the waiting room at your cardiologist. The man across from you keeps glancing over his newspaper, staring, then shifting, then staring again, like he's trying to figure something out but can't quite name it. Sunday service ends. You're walking to your car. A young mother passes you in the parking lot, and she stops mid-sentence. Her mouth opens slightly. She stares at you with this look, not recognition, not fear, something else. Something that makes your chest tighten because you've seen that look 1,000 times and never understood it. Here's what breaks my heart. You've spent 70, 80, maybe 90 years thinking something's wrong with you. That you're too intense, too strange. That people avoid you because you're awkward or different or just too much. But what if I told you? What if the Spirit of God whispered to me 3 nights ago that the reason people stare at you in silence has nothing to do with what's wrong and everything to do with what's right? You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're not imagining this. You are picking up on something real, something ancient, something written across your face in letters that only the spiritual realm can read. Tonight, I'm going to show you exactly why strangers lock eyes with you and can't explain why. Why some people are drawn to you without reason. Why others avoid you without cause. And what your face, yes, your weathered, beautiful, battle-worn face, looks like to the angels. I'll tell you in just a few minutes what your face really is in the eyes of heaven. But first, we have to talk about why this has hurt you so deeply. If this is already hitting you, if you've lived this exact experience and thought you were alone, type in the comments right now, "That's me." Don't scroll past this. You were meant to find this message tonight. You know what keeps you awake at 3 a.m., don't you? It's not just the arthritis in your knees or the medication schedule you can't forget. It's that question, that whisper that follows you from the grocery store to the church parking lot, to the silent house you come home to. Why do they stare at me like that? And then your mind starts doing what it's been trained to do for decades. You start making excuses for other people's discomfort. Maybe they're staring because you look tired, because the bags under your eyes tell stories you wish you could erase, because your wrinkles have deepened since your husband passed, because you've gained 40 pounds since the kids stopped calling, because you walk slower now and people notice the cane, the limp, the way you have to steady yourself against the shopping cart. Maybe they're staring because you look old, worn out, used up, past your prime. Dear one, I need you to hear something that might break you open before it heals you. The enemy has been using your own face as a weapon against you. He's been whispering lies so long you've started to believe them. You're strange. You don't fit in. They're judging you. You make people uncomfortable because something's wrong with you. But that is a lie straight from the pit of hell. Let me take you to Psalm 139, verse 14. David wrote, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." Now I know you've heard that verse 1,000 times at women's Bible studies and church picnics. But do you know what fearfully actually means in the Hebrew? It means with reverent awe. It means God made you with such intentional precision that even He stands back in wonder at what He created. Your face isn't a mistake. Your weathered skin isn't a failure. Those lines around your eyes aren't signs of decay. They're evidence of survival. They're proof that you've walked through valleys that would have killed weaker souls. And you're still here, still breathing, still believing. Think about it like this. Your face is like a book that's been through rain and war and fire. The pages are worn, The spine is cracked. Some chapters are stained with tears. But every wrinkle, every line, every mark is a chapter where God didn't leave you, where He could have let you go, but He held on, where hell tried to write your ending, but heaven kept turning pages. And now people look at that book and they don't know what they're reading, but they know it's not ordinary. You see, here's what most people don't understand. When someone stares at you in silence, they're not just reacting to how you look. They're reacting to what you carry. There's something in the atmosphere around you that their spirit can feel, even if their mind can't name it. You've been through things that marked you. You've prayed prayers that changed you. You've survived losses that transformed you. And whether you realize it or not, your face now carries the evidence of God's faithfulness. But the enemy knows this. Oh, he knows. That's why he works overtime to convince you that people are staring because something's wrong with you. Because if he can keep you ashamed of your face, he can keep you hiding. If he can make you believe you're too old, too worn, too broken to matter anymore, you'll never step into the authority you carry. Listen to what Jesus said in Matthew 5:14. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. Not you will be, or you could be. You are, right now, at your age, with your history, with your scars. You are light, and light gets noticed. Light gets stared at. Light makes people uncomfortable when they've been living in darkness too long. This is why some people look at you and immediately soften. Why strangers in the hospital waiting room sit next to you and start telling you their problems. Why that young cashier at CVS always seems relieved when you come through her line. They're not responding to your personality. They're responding to the presence you carry. But this is also why some people look at you and turn away quickly. Why certain family members avoid your calls. Why some folks at church seem nervous when you walk in the room. It's not because you did something wrong. It's because demons recognize a face like yours in a crowd, and they can't stand to be near the light you're carrying. You think your face tells a story of defeat. Heaven sees it as a testimony of triumph. You think those stares are judgment. Some of them are recognition. Some of them are conviction. Some of them are the Holy Spirit using your very presence to stir something in someone else's soul that's been dormant for years. But I need to ask you something that's going to cut deep. How long are you going to let the enemy use your own reflection as a weapon against you? How many more years are you going to believe that the stares are about your weight, your wrinkles, your age, your limitations? How much longer are you going to apologize for taking up space when God specifically positioned you to be seen? If the enemy has ever used your face to shame you, if he's ever made you feel like you're too much or not enough, I need you to draw a line in the sand right now. Type in the comments, "No more shame," because what I'm about to show you next is going to shatter every lie you've believed about why people can't stop looking at you. Your face isn't the problem, chosen one. Your face is the proof. People are staring because something about you doesn't fit the atmosphere anymore. Let me explain what I mean. You walk into a room and the energy shifts, not because you said anything, not because you did anything, but because you're carrying something, something invisible, something ancient, something that makes the natural world uncomfortable and the spiritual world take notice. You've been marked, chosen one, and whether you realize it or not, your face is broadcasting that mark to everyone who has eyes to see. Now listen carefully. This isn't about physical beauty. This isn't about age or wrinkles or whether you smile enough. This is about what happens to a human face after it's spent decades in the presence of the Almighty, after it's weathered storms that should have broken you, after it's prayed prayers that heaven recorded, after it's forgiven people who never apologized and loved people who never loved back. You've walked with God through the kind of darkness most people run from. You've sat at kitchen tables at 2 a.m. crying out to Him when no one else was listening. You've buried loved ones and still chose to worship. You've lost everything and still said, "But God." And beloved, That kind of faithfulness leaves a residue. Turn with me to Exodus chapter 34. Moses has just spent 40 days and 40 nights on Mount Sinai, face to face with the living God. When he comes down that mountain carrying the stone tablets, something has changed. Verse 29 says Moses did not know that the skin of his face shone because he had been talking with God. Did you catch that? He didn't know. He couldn't see it himself, but everyone else could. Verse 30 tells us, Aaron and all the people of Israel saw Moses, and behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him. The man walked out of God's presence with something on his face that Israel couldn't ignore, something that made them step back, something that created distance, even though Moses hadn't changed his personality, hadn't raised his voice, hadn't done anything except spend time with the Father. Now I need you to understand what's happening to you right now, in this season of your life. No, your face might not literally glow like Moses. You're not going to blind people at the pharmacy or light up the church parking lot, but there is a weight on you, a presence, a peace that doesn't match your circumstances, an authority that doesn't come from earthly credentials. People's eyes register it before their brain finds language for it. They stare because their spirit is reading something their mind can't articulate. They're seeing evidence of survival. They're witnessing the aftermath of surrender. They're standing in front of someone who has been refined by fire and came out still praising God. Your face has become spiritual evidence. Like a file heaven stamped with 6 words, "This one belongs to me, hands off." And dear one, people are reading that file without even knowing they're reading it. This is why strangers in the grocery store can't stop looking at you. This is why that nurse at your last appointment kept making small talk, lingering by your bed longer than necessary. This is why children stare at you with wide eyes, and babies reach for you in waiting rooms. This is why some people are inexplicably drawn to you, while others, the ones carrying darkness, suddenly find excuses to leave when you show up. You're not imagining this. You're not being paranoid. You are carrying the fingerprints of the Almighty on your countenance, and creation itself recognizes its Creator's handiwork. But here's where it gets intense. Here's where we need to talk about something most preachers won't touch. If heaven recognizes you, hell does too. The same mark that draws hungry hearts toward you also triggers demons to manifest around you. The same glow that comforts the wounded makes the wicked uncomfortable. The same presence that brings peace to some brings conviction to others. This is why some stares feel warm and some feel hostile. This is why some people want to be near you and some people can't get away fast enough. This is why you've lost friends who couldn't explain why they needed distance. This is why family members who used to be close now seem nervous around you. Your face isn't just reflecting your age, beloved. It's reflecting your anointing. And anointing always creates division. Always. Jesus said in Matthew 10:34, "I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. That sword cuts between light and darkness, truth and lies, those who hunger for God and those who run from Him." You have become that sword just by existing, just by surviving, just by refusing to let bitterness harden your heart after everything you've been through. And the stares, the silence, the strange reactions, they're all confirmation that you're carrying something this world desperately needs but doesn't know how to process. Your face has become a mirror. When people look at you, they see what they're missing. When they stare in silence, they're not judging you, they're confronting themselves. Your peace exposes their chaos. Your joy convicts their bitterness. Your endurance challenges their complaints. You are walking evidence that God keeps His promises, that faith still works, that prayer still moves mountains, that it's possible to grow old and still grow closer to God instead of away from Him. But if this is true, if you really are marked in the Spirit, then why has it felt so lonely? Why have the stares hurt instead of encouraged? Why does being chosen sometimes feel more like being cursed? Stay with me. Don't click away. What I'm about to share next will make the last 10 years of your life suddenly make sense, because being marked by heaven means you've also been targeted by hell. And that targeting has a name you need to know. Now let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. There's a reason people lock eyes with you and then look away fast. There's a reason that grocery store clerk stuttered mid-sentence when she handed you your change. There's a reason your own grandchildren sometimes get quiet when you look at them too long. Your eyes carry both the war and the worship you've lived through. Listen to what Jesus said in Luke 11:34. He said, "The eye is the lamp of the body. When your eyes are healthy, your whole body also is full of light." Now, most preachers will tell you that's just about spiritual vision. But I'm telling you tonight, it works both ways. If your spirit is full of light, beloved, that light leaks out through your eyes, and people can see it, whether they understand it or not. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You've been in conversations where someone's smiling at you, telling you everything's fine, and something in your gut screams, liar. You didn't need evidence. You didn't need proof. You just looked in their eyes and you knew. That's not intuition, dear one. That's spiritual discernment manifesting through the windows of your soul. But here's what nobody's told you about why this makes people so uncomfortable. Your eyes don't just see the surface anymore. You've lived 70, 80, 90 years on this earth. You've buried people you loved. You've survived betrayals that should have destroyed you. You've watched empires rise and fall, both in the world and in your own living room. And all of that, every tear, every triumph, every midnight prayer, it's carved something into your gaze that can't be faked. Your eyes see through the fake, through the manipulation, through the spiritual darkness that people work so hard to hide. Think about this. When someone's living in deception, when they're carrying guilt they haven't confessed, when they're wearing a mask they've perfected for years, and then they meet your eyes, their conscience feels exposed. You didn't say a word. You didn't accuse them. You didn't even know their secret. But something in your gaze made them feel seen in a way that terrified them. That's not you being judgmental. That's the light of Christ shining through a vessel that's been purified by fire. I'm talking to the grandmother who watched her daughter-in-law's smile crack when you asked how the marriage was really going. I'm talking to the grandfather whose son can't hold eye contact anymore because he knows you see the drinking he's been hiding. I'm talking to every senior saint who's been called intimidating when all you did was show up and be present. You've lived long enough that your eyes have become both a judge and a comfort at the same time. Some people feel safe looking into them. They see a harbor, they see wisdom, they see someone who's walked through hell and came out still believing in heaven. But others see a mirror they don't want to look into. They see conviction without condemnation. They see truth without pretense. And that scares them more than any sermon ever could. Let me paint you a picture. Your eyes are like a lighthouse on a stormy shore. Ships in danger are drawn to you. The broken, the hurting, the ones who've lost their way, they look into your face and something in them whispers, "Safe harbor." That's why strangers tell you their deepest secrets in the waiting room at the hospital. That's why the young cashier at CVS started crying when you asked if she was okay. That's why people you barely know confide in you. But pirates don't like the light. People living in deliberate darkness, people profiting from deception, people who've built their identity on lies, they avoid you. They'll be polite, but they won't linger, because your eyes carry too much truth, and their souls can't handle the exposure. Proverbs 20:27 says, "The human spirit is the lamp of the Lord that sheds light on one's inmost being." Your spirit, chosen one, has been lit by decades of walking with God through valleys that would have extinguished lesser flames. And now that light is so bright, so undeniable, that it illuminates not just your path, but the path of everyone who crosses yours. This is why people stare at you in silence. They're trying to figure out what they're seeing. They're trying to reconcile the wrinkles on your face with the fire in your eyes. They're trying to understand why someone who's been through so much still carries hope like a weapon. They're standing at the intersection of your humanity and your holiness, and it's disorienting. But here's what I need you to understand before we go any deeper. This isn't happening by accident. God didn't accidentally make your eyes into spiritual X-ray machines. He didn't randomly decide that your gaze would carry weight. This was intentional, strategic, prophetic. You were marked for this from the beginning. And in just a moment, I'm going to give you the one word, the single word that heaven uses to describe what your face truly is. But before I do, we need to talk about why those silent stares have left scars on your heart. Because I know they have. I know you've questioned yourself. I know you've wondered if something's wrong with you. So let me ask you this. If you've ever watched someone look into your eyes and instantly get uncomfortable, if you've seen them shift, stumble, or suddenly need to be somewhere else, type in the comments right now, they saw something. Because they did, beloved. They absolutely did. And what they saw is about to change everything you thought you knew about your calling. Now let me tell you something that's going to cut straight through the confusion you've carried for decades. There are three spiritual reasons why people stare at you and can't find words. And once you understand this, you'll never feel small again. The first reason is conviction. Listen to me carefully. When someone looks at your face and goes silent, it's not always about you. It's about what they see in you that they don't have in themselves. Your face carries peace. Not the fake kind that comes from a pill bottle or a vacation. The real kind. The kind that only comes from walking through hell with God and coming out still believing. Proverbs 15:13 says, "A happy heart makes the face cheerful." But it's deeper than that, beloved. Your face tells a story their spirit can read even when their mind can't. They look at you at 75, at 82, at 90 years old, and they see something they gave up on. They see faithfulness. They see endurance. They see decisions made in secret that shaped a life in public. And it convicts them. That young man in the grocery store who stares and looks away. He's thinking about the marriage he walked out of, the promises he broke, the children he abandoned. Your face reminds him of his grandmother who prayed for him every single night, and he hasn't called her in 3 years. That woman in the pharmacy line who can't stop glancing at you, she's remembering the church she left, the faith she traded for bitterness, the God she stopped talking to when life got hard. And your face, your weathered, beautiful, still standing face, it's asking her a question she's been running from. Why did you quit? You are a walking sermon they never asked to hear. And conviction doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes with silence. The second reason is jealousy. Now I know that sounds harsh, but let me explain what I mean. Even in your older years, maybe especially in your older years, there is something about you that the world can't manufacture. Dignity, elegance, quiet strength. You've got scars, yes. You've got wrinkles, absolutely. But you're still here. You're still standing. You're still fighting. You're still believing. And they're wondering, how? How are you still joyful after burying your spouse? How are you still generous after losing everything in the market crash? How are you still loving after being betrayed by your own children? How are you still praying after God said no 1,000 times? They're comparing their 40 years to your 80 years, and they're realizing they gave up at obstacles you've been climbing over since before they were born. Job 12:12 declares, "Is not wisdom found among the aged? Does not long life bring understanding? Your years aren't your weakness, chosen one. They're your weapon." That businessman in his 50s staring at you in the coffee shop. He's got money but no meaning. He's got success but no soul. And when he looks at you sitting there with your simple coat and your worn Bible, he sees wealth he'll never buy. That's not envy born of evil. That's holy jealousy. That's a spirit recognizing what it's missing. And sometimes jealousy doesn't speak, it just stares. The third reason, and this is where it gets supernatural, is recognition. Spirit recognizes spirit, beloved. You know this is true because you've felt it yourself. You've walked into a room and instantly known who carries the presence of God and who doesn't. You've met strangers and felt an unexplainable connection. You've locked eyes with someone across a crowded space and known without words that they're walking the same narrow road you're walking. The same thing happens to you. Other chosen ones see you, and their spirit leaps. Intercessors feel your anointing before you open your mouth. Even lost souls, people who don't know God yet, sense something different about you that they can't name. Let me tell you a story. Last month, I was on the 6 train heading uptown. An older woman got on at 86th Street, probably 70 years old, maybe older, dressed simple, moved slow, nothing flashy about her. But a teenager couldn't have been more than 16, 17 years old. Headphones in, tough-looking kid, he saw her, and I watched something happen. He stood up, took out his earbuds, offered her his seat with a respect I haven't seen in years. He didn't just give her the seat, he honored her. She smiled, said thank you, sat down. The kid got off 2 stops later, and I'm sitting there thinking, what just happened? Then the Spirit whispered to me. His spirit recognized royalty, even if his words didn't. You understand what I'm saying? Your face is like a courtroom witness. It testifies even when your mouth is shut. It speaks a language that bypasses the mind and goes straight to the soul. 1 Corinthians 2:14 says, "The person without the Spirit does not accept the things that come from the Spirit of God, but considers them foolishness." But here's the flip side. The person with the Spirit recognizes the things of God instantly. And you, beloved, you carry something visible only to those with eyes to see. So when they stare and say nothing, sometimes it's conviction, sometimes it's jealousy, and sometimes it's recognition. Heaven seeing heaven, glory responding to glory. You feel me? You understand? If this is answering questions you've had for years, I need you to do something right now. Hit that like button so this message reaches more chosen ones who've been feeling invisible their whole lives. And write in the comments, write it bold, "I'm still here. Speak, Lord." That lets me know you're not just watching, you're walking with me to the end. Because what I'm about to show you next is going to reveal what your face actually looks like in the spirit realm. And beloved, it's going to change everything you thought you knew about yourself. Chosen one, your face is not an accident. Your face is a prophecy. I know that sounds impossible right now. You've spent decades looking in the mirror and seeing only age, only wrinkles, only the weight of years pressing down on skin that used to be smooth. But listen to me carefully. What you see as damage, heaven sees as documentation. What you call aging, God calls authoring. Every line etched across your forehead is a sentence in a story that declares, "I should have died, but I didn't." Every crease around your eyes is a testimony written in tears that eventually turned to wisdom. Every scar, every mark, every place where time has left its signature, these are not flaws. These are prophetic declarations carved into your very flesh by the hand of the Almighty. You think those crow's feet are just wrinkles? No, beloved. Those are the evidence of nights you cried yourself to sleep and still woke up praising God. Those deep lines around your mouth? That's where forgiveness lived when bitterness tried to make a home. That softness in your eyes that people can't quite explain. That's the supernatural peace that settled in after you survived what should have destroyed you. Your survival is not just personal, dear one. Your survival is prophetic. Your family looks at you and sees someone who made it through the depression, through wars, through losses that would have buried weaker souls. Your neighborhood sees you still walking to the mailbox at 83, and something in them whispers, "There's strength I don't understand." Your church sees you still showing up, still believing, still trusting God after everything you've been through, and your very presence becomes a sermon nobody has to preach. Let me tell you what's really happened to your face over these decades. God has been performing surgery on your heart. cutting away the cancer of unforgiveness, removing the tumors of bitterness, transplanting grace where grief used to grow. And every time he operated on your heart, your face became the recovery room. People look at you and see peace where logic says there should be rage. They see gentleness where experience says there should be hardness. They see hope where history says there should be despair. That's not makeup, beloved. That's miracle. In 2 Corinthians 3:2, Paul tells the church at Corinth, "You yourselves are our letter, written on our hearts, known and read by everyone." But do you understand what that means for you right now? Your face has become a living epistle. Heaven can read every chapter. The angels recognize the language. Even demons recoil because they see testimony they tried to erase but couldn't. Your face is a living scroll. Hell can't stand to look at it because your survival contradicts everything darkness promised would destroy you. When you walk into a room, the spiritual realm goes silent because you're carrying evidence of God's faithfulness, written in wrinkles and gray hair, and eyes that have seen too much but somehow still sparkle with belief. Think about Moses for a moment. Exodus 34:29 tells us that when he came down from Mount Sinai after being in God's presence, his face was radiant because he had spoken with the Lord. The Israelites couldn't even look at him directly. They saw something on his face that terrified them, not because it was ugly, but because it was holy. You've been in God's presence too, haven't you? Not on a mountain, but in hospital rooms at 3 in the morning. Not in spectacular visions, but in quiet moments when you had nothing left but him, and he proved to be enough. And now your face carries that same mark, not a physical glow maybe, but something deeper, something that makes strangers stare and not know why. Something that makes people uncomfortable or uncommonly peaceful, depending on what's living inside them. Your face is a lighthouse. Your story is the beam that refuses to go dark, no matter how many storms try to extinguish it. Ships lost at sea, people drowning in despair, addiction, hopelessness. They see your face and something in them recognizes a safe harbor. They don't have words for it. They just know that you survived something. And maybe if you survived, they can too. But here's what you need to understand, and this is urgent. Prophecy attracts warfare. When your face becomes a walking testimony, when your very countenance declares God's faithfulness, the enemy takes notice. This is why some people's eyes change when they see you. This is why certain folks can't maintain eye contact. This is why you've experienced that strange phenomenon of people staring, then looking away fast, then staring again like they're trying to solve a puzzle they don't have the pieces for. They're seeing something their natural eyes can't explain, but their spirit recognizes. Some are drawn to the light. Others are repelled by it because darkness always flees from testimony it can't silence. Right now, I need you to do something. Put your hand gently on your face. Don't be embarrassed, just do it. Feel those lines, feel that skin. Feel the evidence of every year, every battle, every victory etched into your very bones. Now say this out loud. Lord, I accept that my face is a prophecy, not a problem. Say it again. My face is a prophecy, not a problem. One more time, and mean it. My face is a prophecy. Because, beloved, once you accept that your face tells a story that heaven once told, everything changes. You stop hiding. You stop apologizing for aging. You stop wishing you looked younger and start realizing you look exactly like someone who has walked with God through fire and came out refined. But here's the question that will haunt you if we don't address it. If your face is truly prophetic, if people are really seeing something supernatural when they stare at you in silence, then what exactly are they seeing? What message is written so clearly that even strangers can sense it? But listen to me carefully, chosen one. Not everyone who stares at you is drawn to the light. Some people don't just stare, they glare. Some suddenly go cold when you walk in. Some get rude for no reason. Some avoid you like you're carrying a disease they might catch. And you've blamed yourself, haven't you? You've replayed the conversation in your head 1,000 times. What did I say wrong? What did I do? Why does she always change her tone when I'm around? Why did he suddenly stop inviting me to church events? Here's what nobody told you. Here's what 70 years of church attendance never explained. It's not you they're avoiding, it's what's on you. Your face carries a frequency that the demonic realm recognizes instantly. And when you walk into a room, any room, the atmosphere shifts. The gossip suddenly stops. The complaining goes quiet. The crude jokes die mid-sentence. And people look at you like you just ruined the party. You didn't ruin anything, beloved. You exposed something. 1 Corinthians 2:14 says it plainly. The person without the Spirit does not accept the things that come from the Spirit of God, but considers them foolishness. That word accept in the Greek, it means they literally cannot receive what you're carrying. Your presence is spiritual discomfort to anyone operating in darkness. Think about this. When Jesus walked into the synagogue, what happened? The demons started screaming. Mark 1:24, the unclean spirit cried out, "What do you want with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." The demon didn't ask politely. It shrieked. It panicked, because the presence of holiness is torture to darkness. That's what's happening when people suddenly turn cold around you. You think they're rejecting you, but spiritually, the enemy operating through them is reacting to the God in you. You are a walking alarm system in the spirit. Your face sets off sirens in hell. I'm talking to the grandmother who stopped going to family gatherings because your daughter-in-law always makes you feel unwelcome. You walk in, and the conversation shifts. The laughter stops. You feel like a stranger in your own family. But what if I told you that your presence is shutting down gossip? That the anointing on your life makes it impossible for ungodly conversations to continue comfortably? I'm talking to the grandfather who used to have friends at the senior center, but now they avoid your table. You sit down, and suddenly everyone remembers they have somewhere else to be. You think you're boring. You think you're too religious. But what's really happening? The light in you is exposing the emptiness in them, and exposure feels like rejection when you don't understand the spiritual dynamics. Let me tell you something that will change how you see every cold shoulder, every awkward silence, every room that goes quiet when you enter. In Matthew 5:11, 1-2, Jesus said, "Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven." Did you catch that? Because of me. Not because of something you did wrong, not because you're socially awkward, because the Christ in you makes the devil in them uncomfortable. You've been taking these reactions personally for decades, wondering what's wrong with your personality, questioning why people who seemed so friendly suddenly turned cold, blaming yourself for not being warmer, funnier, easier to be around. Stop it. Right now, stop carrying shame for a spiritual reality you didn't create. They're not rejecting you. They're reacting to the God in you. And every glare, every cold shoulder, every time someone walks away from you without explanation, that's not social failure. That's spiritual confirmation. You carry something that makes demons nervous. Your face is a reminder that their time is short and God's grace is real. And when people who are operating in agreement with darkness encounter you, they feel convicted without you saying a word. Your very presence preaches. I remember hearing about a chosen one, a woman in her late 70s who walked into her book club one afternoon. The moment she sat down, the atmosphere changed. They'd been talking about someone who wasn't there, tearing her apart. But when this woman entered, the conversation died instantly. She didn't say anything. She didn't rebuke anyone. She just sat down. And they blamed her for ruining the mood. But what really happened? Her presence shut down a demonic conversation. The anointing on her life made it impossible for slander to continue. And instead of recognizing conviction, They called it discomfort and avoided her afterward. That's you. That's your story. You've been blamed for ruining the mood when all you did was carry the presence of God into a room full of agreement with darkness. Job 12:4 says, I have become a laughingstock to my friends, though I called on God, and he answered a mere laughingstock. Though righteous and blameless, even Job, blameless Job, was mocked by his own friends. Not because he was wrong, but because his righteousness made their compromise unbearable to look at. Your face is doing the same thing. It's holding up a mirror to everyone who meets your gaze. And what they see in that mirror, their own spiritual condition, either draws them closer to God or drives them away from you. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. Every time someone reacts negatively to your presence, you're winning a battle you didn't even know you were fighting. Every glare is proof you're a threat. Every cold shoulder is evidence you're effective. Every room that goes quiet when you walk in is a room where darkness just lost its grip. If you're tired of taking these reactions personally, if you're ready to see these stares as confirmation instead of condemnation, I want you to pray with me right now. Don't just listen. Pray out loud wherever you are. Lord, teach me to see rejection as recognition. Help me understand that when people react to me, they're reacting to you in me. I'm not socially broken, I'm spiritually marked. And from this moment forward, I will not apologize for carrying your presence, in Jesus' name. Now type I carry his presence in the comments. Declare it, because beloved, what you're about to discover next will explain exactly what heaven sees when it looks at your face and why that changes everything. Now listen to me carefully, chosen one. Everything I've told you tonight means nothing if you don't know how to carry it tomorrow morning when you walk into ShopRite. When you sit in that doctor's waiting room, when you stand in line at the pharmacy picking up your prescriptions. Because here's the truth that's going to set you free. You can't hide anymore, and you shouldn't want to. For decades, you've been shrinking, haven't you? When people stare, you look down. When strangers lock eyes with you, you turn away first. When that inexplicable heaviness fills a room the moment you enter, you apologize with your posture shoulders forward, head down, making yourself smaller, trying to disappear. But God didn't mark your face so you could spend your final years hiding it. Moses came down from Mount Sinai, and Exodus 34-29 tells us his face was radiant because he had spoken with the Lord. The Israelites couldn't even look at him. They were terrified. And what did Moses do? He covered his face with a veil. He hid the glory to make others comfortable. But 2 Corinthians 3:18 says something that should shake you to your core. And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory. Unveiled faces, not covered, not hidden, not apologizing for the glory you carry. So here's what I need you to do tomorrow. When you walk into that grocery store, I want you to pull your shoulders back, not arrogant, not proud, but straight, like someone who knows they're carrying something precious. Breathe slow, deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. You're not rushing anymore. You're not performing anymore. You're just walking as who you are. And when someone stares, and they will stare, I want you to do something that might feel impossible at first. I want you to smile. Gently. Not a big performance smile. Just a quiet acknowledgement that says, I see you seeing me, and it's okay. Then, in your spirit, without speaking a word out loud, I want you to whisper this prayer. Lord, if they need something from you, touch them right now. You see, beloved, when people stare at you, they're not always seeing you. They're seeing through you. They're catching a glimpse of something their spirit recognizes, but their mind can't explain. And instead of being afraid of that moment, instead of shrinking from it, you get to become a portal, a doorway, a living, breathing prayer walking through the produce aisle. But you have to declare some things over yourself. You have to speak truth when the lies get loud. So right now, I want you to say this with me out loud if you're alone, in your heart if you're not. My face is not a curse. It's a calling. Say it again. My face is not a curse. It's a calling. One more time, and mean it. My face is not a curse. It's a calling. Here's another one you need to tattoo on your soul. I carry light, and light belongs in every room I enter. Not some rooms, not only church, not just when you're around people who understand. Every room, the hospital room, the social security office, the family reunion where half your relatives think you've lost your mind. Every single room you walk into has been waiting for the light you carry, even if no one there knows it yet. But I need to tell you something else, and this might be the most important thing I say all night. Being chosen doesn't mean you have to explain yourself to everyone who stares. You don't owe everyone access. You don't owe every stranger your story. You don't owe every curious person an explanation of why you feel different, why you look different, why you carry weight they can sense but can't name. You owe God obedience. That's it. That's the only debt you carry. Some people are going to stare because they're spiritually hungry, and your face is bread. Feed them, love them, pray for them. But others are going to stare because darkness recognizes light and wants to extinguish it. You don't have to engage every battle. You don't have to answer every question. You don't have to make yourself smaller so others can feel bigger. Proverbs 4:23 warns us, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Guard your heart, chosen one. You can carry glory without carrying everyone's confusion. You can be marked without being manipulated. You can be chosen without being consumed. And here's what I need every senior saint hearing my voice to understand right now. You think your season is over? You think because you're in your 60s, 70s, 80s, that God's done using your presence as a message? That's a lie from hell. Isaiah 46:4 declares, even to your old age and gray hairs I am he who will sustain you. I have made you, and I will carry you. I will sustain you, and I will rescue you. God didn't mark you to use you for 20 years and then retire you. The marking doesn't have an expiration date. Your face isn't becoming less radiant with age, it's becoming more concentrated. Every line, every wrinkle, every silver hair is evidence of battles fought, prayers answered, fires survived. You're not fading, beloved. You're being refined into pure gold. You move through this city like a quiet ambassador. No badge on your chest, no title on your business card, just a face that carries the king's seal. And everywhere you go, the deli on the corner, the subway platform, the waiting room at Mount Sinai Hospital, you're representing a kingdom most people have forgotten exists. We're getting ready to land this plane. In just a moment, I'm going to finish the sentence that's been hanging in the air all night. Your face is, and when I say it, something in your spirit is going to stand up and remember what you've always known but were afraid to believe. If this is giving you strength for tomorrow, if you can already feel yourself walking different, type in the comments, I receive this. Because tomorrow morning, when you look in that mirror, everything changes. We've talked about your pain. We've talked about the mark you carry. We've looked into your eyes and seen the weight of decades pressing down on your shoulders. We've examined the stares, the whispers, the warfare that's followed you since you were old enough to understand that you were different. But now I need to say something that heaven has been trying to tell you for 70 years. And I need you to be still. I need you to let these words sink past your mind, past your doubts, past every lie you've believed about yourself, and land directly in the center of your spirit. Are you ready? Chosen one, your face is a sermon. Let me say that again. Slower this time, so you feel the weight of it. Your face is a sermon, not a suggestion, not a metaphor, a literal, living, breathing sermon that preaches every single time you walk into a room, Every time you stand in line at the pharmacy, every time you sit in that church pew, every time a stranger's eyes lock onto yours and they can't look away. But it's more than that. Your face is a prophetic billboard that God refuses to take down. While the world tries to erase you, marginalize you, tell you that your time is over and your voice doesn't matter anymore, God has written his testimony across your countenance in letters so bold that the spirit realm cannot ignore it. And here's the third truth that will shatter everything you thought you knew about yourself. Your face is God's signature. It is living, breathing proof that he still writes stories that hell cannot erase, that he still redeems what the world calls ruined, that he still resurrects what death tried to bury. Every line etched into your skin by worry, by grief, by sleepless nights, wondering if you'd make it through, those aren't signs of defeat. Those are brushstrokes in a masterpiece that took 8 decades to complete. Every scar, every mark, every place where time has left its fingerprint, that's God saying, "This one is mine. This one survived. This one is a walking testament to my faithfulness." Do you understand what I'm telling you? Every single time you walk into a room, that sermon starts preaching. Before you open your mouth, before you say a word, your very presence is declaring survival, grace, mercy, second chances, and a God who doesn't quit on his children even when they've quit on themselves. That's why people stare at you in silence. They're not staring because something's wrong. They're staring because their spirit is reading a story their mouth doesn't know how to ask for. Their soul is recognizing something their mind can't comprehend. They're looking at you and seeing proof, undeniable proof, that it's possible to walk through hell and come out still believing in heaven. You are a living, breathing, before and after picture of what God can do with a broken life. You are the evidence that scars can become sacred. You are the testimony that age doesn't diminish anointing, it amplifies it. Think about Moses. Exodus 34-29 says, "When Moses came down from Mount Sinai with the 2 tablets of the covenant law in his hands, he was not aware that his face was radiant because he had spoken with the Lord. His face was shining so bright that the Israelites couldn't look at him. He had to wear a veil. Why? Because when you spend time in God's presence, when you've walked through his fires, when you've wrestled with him in the midnight hours, it shows up on your face. You think those sleepless nights were wasted. You think those years of crying out to God in the dark didn't matter. Every single moment you spent in his presence left a mark. And now your face carries the radiation of decades of intimate warfare with the Almighty. But here's what breaks my heart. While God has been writing his signature across your countenance, you've been apologizing for it. While heaven has been putting his seal on you, you've been trying to hide it. While the angels have been watching your transformation with wonder, you've been standing in front of the mirror wishing you looked different. No more. That ends tonight. 2 Corinthians 3:18 declares, "And we all, who with unveiled faces contemplate the Lord's glory, are being transformed into his image with ever-increasing glory." You are not deteriorating, beloved. You are being transformed. Every year, every trial, every tear, it's been adding glory to glory, depth to depth, weight to weight. Your face isn't aging. Your face is awakening to what it's always been, a canvas for the Master's signature. That young mother in the parking lot who couldn't stop staring, her spirit was reading your sermon and thinking, if God kept her, maybe he'll keep me too. That man in the waiting room who kept glancing over his newspaper, his soul was whispering, if she survived, maybe I can survive this diagnosis. That woman in the checkout line who looked away when you caught her staring, she wasn't rejecting you, she was overwhelmed by you. Because your face was preaching a message of hope her heart desperately needed, but her pride wouldn't let her receive. You're not too much. You've never been too much. You're exactly the right amount of testimony that this dying generation needs to see. So let me ask you something that's going to determine everything about how you walk out of here tonight. Will you keep apologizing for the sermon God wrote on your face? Will you keep hiding the signature the master artist refuses to erase? Or will you finally lift your head, square your shoulders, and let your face preach the message it was born to declare? If you feel that witness burning in your spirit right now, if something deep inside you just said, "Yes, that's me," then I need you to do something. Write this sentence in the comments. My face is God's signature. That's not just a comment. That's your agreement with heaven. That's you declaring that you will no longer apologize for carrying the evidence of God's faithfulness. But here's what you need to understand about why this revelation matters so much right now, in this season of your life, at this exact moment when you thought your story was ending. Beloved, before I release you back into your life, I need you to hold 3 truths in your heart like precious stones. First, you are not crazy. You never were. That feeling you've carried since childhood, that sense that people see something in you they can't name, that's not paranoia. That's spiritual reality breaking through into the natural world. Your discernment was accurate all along. Second, people stare because heaven's mark on you is visible even to those who don't know God. They can't articulate it, they don't have the language for it, but their spirit recognizes what their mind cannot comprehend. You are walking proof that the invisible realm is real. Third, your face is not a problem. It never was. Every line etched by tears, every wrinkle carved by worry, every scar left by betrayal, God has been writing his story across your countenance. Your face is his prophetic signature in a generation that has forgotten how to recognize the sacred. But right now, I need to speak to someone specific, someone who's listening and feeling something stir that's been dead for decades. Maybe you walked away from Jesus 50 years ago. Maybe you never really gave him your whole heart, just went through the motions at church because that's what your mama taught you. Maybe you've spent your golden years believing it's too late, that God moved on, that you missed your window. Listen to me with everything in you. This message finding you tonight is not coincidence. It's divine intervention. The fact that you're still breathing means God still has purpose for you. The fact that your heart is beating right now means the invitation is still open. If that's you, I want you to whisper these words with me. Don't overthink it. Just let your lips form the truth your heart has been hiding. Jesus, I've wasted so much time. I've run from you. I've doubted you. But I'm tired of running. Come into my heart right now. Forgive everything I've done. Make me new. I surrender. I'm yours. If you just prayed that, something shifted in heaven. Angels are celebrating your name right now. And now, Father, I need to pray over every person watching this. Lord, I bless their face. Every wrinkle I bless it. Every line I bless it. Every scar I bless it. Let anxiety lift off their countenance like morning fog. Let shame evaporate like dew under the sun. Let self-hatred die in this moment. When people stare at them from this day forward, let them see you. Let their face radiate peace that has no earthly explanation. Let their very presence become a sanctuary, in Jesus' name. Now, if this message was for you, if something in your chest confirms that you are marked, chosen, set apart, type in the comments right now, face marked by God. That's our code today. Let me see you. Let this family see you. And listen, there's someone in your life who needs this word. That friend who's always felt different. That family member who's been told they're too much. That person at church who sits alone because people don't know what to do with their intensity. Send them this video. Let them know it's because they're marked, not rejected. If you want more messages like this where we don't rush, where we go deep, where we treat your story with the reverence it deserves, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. This isn't just a channel. This is a refuge for chosen ones who've been walking alone too long. To those who've been supporting this ministry, you know who you are, thank you. You're helping this reach someone sitting alone right now in a tiny apartment in Brooklyn, a hospital bed in Detroit, working the night shift in Chicago, wondering if God still sees them. He does. And so do we. You are not invisible. You are marked. And your face tells a story heaven refuses to let the world forget.